Close your eyes, breathe slowly, and let's travel back in time to a land between two great rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates. This is Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization, a place where humans first learned to write, to build cities, to dream of gods and kings. There are no loud battles here, no sudden surprises, just a quiet story about how it all began. So relax, let go of the day, and drift into the past long ago. Before clocks, before books, before even nations, people lived close to the earth. They followed the seasons, they gathered food, they moved with the rain and the sun. But in this part of the world, what we now call Iraq, the rivers flooded every spring, and from that water, life grew, rich soil, green fields, abundant crops, and so people began to stay. They built homes. They planted seeds. They stayed in one place year after year. This was the beginning of farming, the beginning of settlement, the beginning of civilization, and this land was called Mesopotamia, the land between two rivers, a quiet place, a fertile place, a place where everything began. As people stayed, their villages grew, small groups became large communities, and over time, the first cities rose from the dust. One of the earliest was Uruk, a city of mud brick homes, tall temples, and busy streets. It had walls not just for protection, but to show power, to say, we are here, we are strong. Another city, Ur, became a center of trade and religion. Its great ziggurat, a temple tower, reached toward the sky, like a bridge between earth and heaven. These weren't just towns, they were the first real cities in human history, and in them, new ideas were born in the early days. No one wrote, stories were told by voice, laws were remembered by heart, but as cities grew, things got complicated. How many sheep did you own? How much grain was stored? Who paid their taxes? Someone needed to keep track, so around 3200 BC, a scribe in summer pressed a reed into soft clay. He made marks, simple shapes, symbols. This was the first writing, called cuneiform, meaning wedge-shaped. At first it was just for numbers and goods, but soon it told stories, it recorded laws, it praised kings and gods, and so knowledge could now live beyond memory. It could be passed down forever. Imagine that. A single mark in clay changed everything. With cities came rules. Without rules, chaos. Too many people, too many needs. So a king named Hammurabi, ruler of Babylon, decided to write down the laws. He carved them into a tall stone pillar, so everyone could see, so no one could forget the most famous law. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, not kind, not gentle, but clear, and that clarity gave people a sense of order, of justice, of fairness. These laws were not perfect. They treated rich and poor differently, but they were a beginning, a step toward justice, and that step still echoes today. The people of Mesopotamia looked up to the sky, to the stars. They saw patterns, cycles, messages from the gods. They believed the heavens spoke, that eclipses were warnings, that planets carried fate. So they studied the sky, they mapped the stars, they created one of the first calendars, and they built temples, ziggurats where priests watched the sky and prayed to gods like Anu, Enlil, and Ishtar. Kings ruled in their name, wars were fought for them, cities were built for them. This was not just religion, it was the foundation of society, a belief that everything had meaning, that life was part of a greater story. So why tell this story tonight? Because Mesopotamia was not just a place, it was the beginning, the first cities, the first writing, the first laws, the first calendars. Every book you've read, every law you've lived under, every city you've walked through, it all started here in the quiet land between two rivers, with people who looked at the stars and dared to write it all down. So as you close your eyes, know this, you are part of that story, you are part of that chain, you are part of the longest story ever told, and it began with a mark in clay and a dream of something more. Good night, traveler. May history carry you gently into sleep.